Welcome to the Why Not podcast with me, Chrissy Hawkins. In a world where everybody always asks you why, I'm here to ask why not. I'm going to do that by breaking down the mindsets of guests and my own to figure out what makes people say, why not? Hi guys, welcome back to Why Not? As it is the season of New Year, New Me, I decided today is the best time to talk about our do's and don'ts of joining a gym in January or joining your January fitness journey. Trying to get as much alliteration in as possible. But yeah, so basically I go through several do's and don'ts because I know a lot of people join the gym in January. It just goes absolutely wild here. It's like the one type of industry that isn't quiet in January. We're dead in December and mad in January. So I just thought I know there's a lot of people who kind of come in and disappear and go again. So I wanted to talk a few do's and don'ts around it. So hopefully you can stay a bit consistent and don't disappear off again at the end of January or at Valentine's Day, which is the kind of cut-off point we tend to see. But anyway, as ever guys, just sit back and relax or walk and listen, whatever way you want to do. Here is my episode of do's and don'ts when joining the gym in January. Hey guys, welcome back to Why Not? So we are here in January, or am I recording this in December? Who knows? But what I do know is every January is basically the same in the gyms in that everybody starts their new year, new me. And what results in that is the gyms are packed, which is great. Of course, we'd love to see you guys come. But normally by February, everyone drops off. And it's just like kind of a vicious cycle. You know, if you make it as far as kind of Valentine's Day, you get to 6 weeks, Valentine's Day, you've got your date, and everyone drops off the gym. And it's just a common theme that happens every year. And I know this because I see the same people. Sometimes I've worked in a lot of small gyms or local gyms, and the same people kind of rejoin in January and then rejoin again in September, and they go for a while and then they disappear, and then something else comes up and life happens, and that happens with a lot of people, and then they've decided they put on a few pounds again and they want to lose weight, and they come back and they do the same thing they were doing last time until they get bored, which is normally about 6 weeks, and then they go again. And then they come back again, and it just goes round and round and round, and they never seem to be any different or lose any weight. Not that that's your goal for everyone, but what I'm saying is I see this happen to a lot of people. I've done it myself. I see it even in like family members. It's constant like join, stop, come back, join, stop, come back. And never really change. Does this sound like you? Have you done this? Are you a serial gym joiner? Serial program joiner? You've done them all. You've probably done every which way one, and you've stopped all of them at some point. And look, that's not a slag on you. It's a vast majority of people, and I think part of it again is we don't really know why we're joining the gym. Some of us join because we think we should, because, I don't know, scale's gone up a little bit and we're like, oh God, it's the only way I can get rid of it. Some of us are doing it because our friends are joining. Some of us are doing it because TV or social media told us we should. Some of us are trying to shift a few pounds, but we don't know how many exactly, but we kind of think we'll know and we'll know. And a lot of it, there is that clear-cut goal or just outside reasons making you want to join and lose weight, as opposed to actually wanting to do a fitness journey for yourself. And by that I don't mean necessarily having to lose weight, but going to do something different for yourself. And it just, you know, like we go and do that one that worked for us that one time, and maybe it did, but did it really? Because you are back at square one. Anyway, I wanted to talk today about the do's don'ts of joining the gym in January. So because there's going to be such an influx of people, and I always love seeing you guys come, as I said, but I want to see you guys stay, because I see so many people who come and drop off and disappear, and then come back, or some people who just like get really, really into it for 6 weeks and then that's the end of it. And I really like to see you guys stay longer and maybe start enjoying the gym or enjoying the atmosphere and know why you're going as opposed to thinking you should be going. And yeah, so this is one of my do's and don'ts. So I'm going to kind of intersperse them between both do's and don'ts. I'm not just going to go don't, do. I'm going to do a combination of both because I think we don't want to be all negative or all positive. It's nice to mix between both and balance because that's what life's about. So basically, I find this is a lot like when people are going on a holiday or like come back from holiday. Well, it's more so when they're going on a holiday to do this as well. And like January is the same. Like you've just come off the back of Christmas, which is a kind of mad time where you be drinking and eating more, and because of that you feel a little bit bloated, a little bit of sorts, and you just want to reset straight away. And I think one thing that I find a lot of people do before embarking on a diet, so you might set your day as Monday. Monday is the day that I'm not going to eat bad anymore. I'm just going to eat salad and chicken and healthy, whatever healthy is in your head, and I'm no longer going to eat chocolate and biscuits and cake. But I've got a shit ton of chocolate and biscuits and cake in the house, so you know what I have to do? I have to drink all the alcohol we have, I have to eat all the chocolates and biscuits and cake. I need to make sure it's all gone before I start on Monday, and I'm going to be perfect forever, and I'm never going to look at chocolate again, and I'm never going to sip a glass of wine because I am being good now, and that is how I'm going to be. Does that sound familiar? Well, I want to start off by saying don't do that. Now, obviously, if you are trying to go in a calorie deficit and stuff and you have a habit of picking a food, sometimes it's great not to have them in the house, but like you can't get rid of everything. At the end of the day, the other thing about it as well is like food's always going to be there. So like just because you eat all the chocolate now doesn't mean there's never going to be chocolate again. So if you're in that mentality where you can't touch chocolate, maybe it's best not to go on a diet right now, because you can still enjoy chocolate and be in a deficit. But if you feel like you can't have anything near you like that, maybe you are taking too hard line of a deficit, or maybe you need to assess your relationship with food like that before you even attempt to go that far. So just a thought there on that side. But really important one, if you are planning on starting any form of, I don't want to say diet, I prefer to say calorie deficit, just where we're reducing our calories, because diets tend to be those fad things and have an end date, whereas if you're trying to like change your lifestyle a little bit, I prefer to look at it to add things in. So let's not eat everything in the press and eat everything that is considered quote bad, and instead let's do add things into our diet. Okay, what do I mean by that? Okay, so over Christmas the likelihood is you haven't been having your 5 a day, or you haven't been drinking any water unless it's in the form of alcohol, which we all know dehydrates, or you're drinking coffee to recover. So let's, instead of taking away all the bad stuff, let's try and add more nutritious things into our diet. Let's try and add more veg to all of our meals. Let's try and add more protein into our meals. And I'm not talking about having scoops of protein shakes and stuff like that, but I mean like having, you know, if you're making sure there's good servings of protein that'll keep you full. So that can be your meat, that can be fish, that can be chicken. That can also be, there's vegetarian protein sources like tofu, seitan, loads of them, loads of different things, beans, peas, lentils, they all have forms of protein in them, but we want to add them into our diet so we feel fuller from our meals. And then we also add in our vegetables to help get our vitamin and minerals back up, because one of the things maybe that happens if you've been drinking a lot over Christmas is that we deplete especially our water soluble vitamins. So the likes of B, which is a big one for our energy, and C, which is one for our immune system, they will get peed out the more we drink. So by getting in those fruit and veg back in, we're going to get them back into our diet, along with a lot of other different micronutrients, vitamins and minerals that we may have been lacking from our diet during the last few weeks. So that was my kind of first do and don't. So the don't is, don't eat everything in preparation for a diet, and do try to add things that are more nutritious into your diet. And with that as well comes a don't ban yourself from eating anything. So the more, we all know psychologically, the more we are told we can't have something, the more we want it, or the more we try to tell ourselves we're not going to have something, the more we want it. So why would you put yourself in that situation where you want it more? So like, instead of saying I can't eat chocolate and all you can think about is eating a family-sized dairy milk, why don't you say I might have 2 squares of chocolate every evening with my cup of tea, and I'm going to sit there and I'm going to taste that chocolate and I'm going to let it melt into my mouth. And the likelihood is you probably won't eat that family-sized dairy milk when you now let yourself do that. On top of that, let's try not to eliminate full macronutrient groups. So our macronutrient groups are our protein, carbs and fats, and we all know at one point fats were the demon, and in recent times carbs have been the demon. So neither are demons. There's different calorie values to them. Carbs have the exact same amount of calorie value to them as protein, so 4 calories per gram. It's just the carbs is solely used for energy, and protein has another use in the body. But this, like fats now as well, fats do have a higher calorie count compared to their 9 calories per gram between them and carbs and carbs and protein. But they also are very important for our hormone support, especially as women, and also brain function, because it's a lot of how, I'm not going to go into the science of it, but how electrical pulses are transmitted through our nerves. A lot of it needs fat to conduct it. So if you've ever been on a really low fat diet and you find it hard concentrating, that can be why. So try not to cut them. Yes, you can reduce the amount you're having. They shouldn't be eating all of it, but make sure that you are not cutting it out completely. And you'll never hear anyone tell you to go on a no protein diet, I hope, because protein literally builds all of your cells and all of your muscle, and everything functions off the back of protein. So please do not cut that fully out of your diet. And it's a really big one, because keto has made carbs the enemy. Low fat was a big thing for years, so fat was the enemy. None of them are your enemies. No one is an enemy of fat loss. Slight reduction in calories can help. You can create that reduction in calories by exercise, and you don't have to even cut what you were eating. If you add in exercise that you haven't been doing before, that could on its own create a calorie deficit. So don't feel like you need to cut out food groups. And with that, I have another another don't, doubling on the don'ts here. When I mentioned the fact that adding in exercise can make a difference, don't try to exercise every day from zero. First off, you're going to be in bits. Second off, you're not giving your body enough time to recover. Third off, you're going to hate it by the end of the month, because you're going to dread going to the gym and training instead of enjoying it and having fun with it. And fourth off, it'll suck. So the thing is, a lot of us try to go from 0 to 100, and that's why we drop off so quickly, and it's not sustainable. So maybe start off with going for 2 workouts a week and 2 walks, and see how you feel with that. If you find that's too easy, up it to 3 workouts. You don't have to go a million miles an hour just to get where you want to be. It's not going to make it any faster. You might see faster results initially, but is it sustainable long term? Probably not. And that's where the issue lies, because we need to make something that we can maintain long term or you're never going to get the results you want. And we think too little in the short term and not enough into the long term and how it's going to affect us. So yeah, that's fine, you might be able to work out 4 days a week now, but what happens when kids go back to school, or work picks up, or you know, a day comes where you can't make your training session? What happens then? Do you just go again, or do you like reset and re-go, or do you give up altogether because you can't get the perfect amount of workouts that you were getting beforehand? So it's really important that we think about this when we're doing it, like what is sustainable long term. Some days you're going to be tireder than other. Doesn't mean you have to go and train. You can easily just have a rest day. That's allowed. You won't lose all your progress by having one day off. I hear a lot of people say that they're worried if they take a day off they'll lose all their progress, and I'm here to tell you, you won't, because it didn't take you one day to get the progress, so you're not going to take you one day to lose the progress. And I think as well, it's very important to remember that we don't need to train like an athlete. That's one of the things, I've seen that before. It's like, train like an athlete, and it literally drives me mad. And here's the thing, athletes get paid to train like that, okay? They are, if they're not being paid, they're sponsored, except if you're in GAA and they work really hard. But like, they are training and they have a goal as well. So they're not training to lose some body fat. Athletes are training to win domestic, European, international competitions. That's why they train so hard. They have sponsors behind them. They have money invested in them. That's why they train so hard. You do not need to do that to lose a couple of pounds of body fat. I've seen those things before. It's like, what was it? Eat like a nutritionist. Well, you know what? Nutritionists, I know very many of them, they drink wine and eat crisps too. So there you go. You're eating like one of them if you have them. Train like an athlete. No, don't train like an athlete. That's just stupid. And it can also be argued that the amount athletes train is not healthy. So it's not really going to help if you want to lose a few pounds of body fat. And the other one's like sleep like a baby. That one I'm up for. I think that one's good. Sleep like a baby is very good because we don't sleep enough. But it just does, it's something obviously that grinds my gears a little bit when I hear people saying like, oh yeah, you need to train like an athlete. Nobody needs to train like an athlete unless it's their job and they are in fact an athlete, okay? So don't put yourself under that pressure when all you want to do is lose a couple of pounds of body fat. With that, I want you to make a plan. So I say don't try and do like 0 to 90, but do make a plan. How are you going to structure this into your life? When are you going to train? Where are you going to train? Like, you need to plan this like you plan everything else, like your social occasions, like you plan how the kids are getting to here, there and everywhere. Can you go and do a workout while the kids are at training? I know plenty of people who go to my gym who do that. You know, there's no point saying I'm going to train 5 days a week, but you haven't planned those 5 days a week in. So if you are finding 5 days is a stretch or a bit too much, then plan for 3 days a week. That's totally fine. But have a plan on what way you're going and what way you're going to do it. Because if you don't do that, just like with everything else, you're not going to do it. If it comes to food and you need to make sure you are, not say eating well, but kind of eating a bit more structuredly, you need to plan that too. Do you have a day you can set aside where you can meal prep for a couple of meals for the rest of the day? Do you have a meal order service that can help you keep on track? Or are you just going to wing it and end up picking up stuff because you've ended up working for too long, you're starving, and you're grabbing a sandwich from the deli or something like that? Not the same, so without a plan, like, fail to prepare, prepare to fail is a saying for a reason. So I think you need to remember that as well. And I know people like living in the free flowing ways, but nothing gets done if you live like that. I'm just saying from experience, you need to set a plan and a goal and know where you're going with it and how you're going to do it, okay? So my next don't is, don't go on a diet or a training plan just because it worked before. Because if it worked, why do you have to do it again? We have a lot of people who go where we find, or not a lot of people, but I find a lot of people always default back to what they did before because it worked at the time, or their friend told them this worked, but their friend might not necessarily kept the weight off or like that. If they have rebounded after, it didn't really work. So you're just kind of starting this never ending cycle of I started again because it works, but it's not sustainable long term, so it doesn't work. And I think that goes for training plans as well, because this is what I was saying when it comes to like planning like a million training sessions a week. You know, you mightn't actually be able to, yeah, it'll work in the short term, but long term it's not going to, because you won't be able to sustain it. So whatever you are doing, you need to look at it and go, can I see myself doing this in 6 months? Can I see me doing this in a year? Can I see myself doing this forever? And if the answer to any of those questions is no, then it's probably not what you need to be doing. Because if you can say, I'm not going to eat chocolate again, who could do that? That would be mad. And you actually can imagine yourself never eating chocolate again, brilliant, go for it, don't eat chocolate again. But if it's a case that you can't imagine your life without chocolate, maybe don't tell yourself you're not going to eat chocolate. It's just normal, it's okay, it's called being human, you're allowed to eat chocolate. And like that, you can't expect to be on these crazy training sessions. Like I said myself, I did an 8-week shred, and I knew at the end of it, I wouldn't be able to keep going training like that, because I have a life outside of it. So remember that, like, I know those results aren't permanent, and I was doing it for a reason, to try something. If you want to try stuff out, yeah, fine. Maybe you don't know if it's going to work for you long term, but if you really already have that doubt, it's not really worth doing it at all in the first place, if that makes sense. And then with that, like, do ask for help if you need it. Like, we all can join a gym and you get your intro program, you do your intro program to your board, and you never ask for a new one. And most gyms offer this as a service that you can get all the time. Or if you really don't want to, if you don't feel like you can do it yourself, why don't you just maybe sign up to a class where there's all of you doing the same thing, working to the same goal, or get a PT, get a coach. Like, that's totally okay as well. It's not admitting that you are a failure or anything like that. I don't know why you would think that, but admit to yourself that you need help, because if you've not been able to get there on your own, maybe it's time to just get someone to help you. And that's where like a coach can come in, you know, having a PT like that, like they're there to support you. So on the days where you find that you don't want to go to a training session, for instance, maybe your coach will ask you, like, is there actually something wrong, or are you just not in the humour? They can tell you if you're not training enough, or even if you're overtraining. They can give you advice on, you know, do you need to do a workout today? Could you go for a walk? Could you make a better choice with your dinner, with more protein in it and more vegetables? That kind of thing. They're not there to judge you. Like, a good trainer shouldn't be like judging you for what you eat. You should be able to tell them happily what you eat, and like, you know, they shouldn't judge you for drinking alcohol. If you drink alcohol, there's nothing wrong with any of those things. So if you feel like you can't approach your trainer to ask any questions, maybe it's not the best trainer for you, but they should be there and happy to answer any questions. And in the gyms as well, you know, they do have like information for their clients. So if you can get that information, ask them, like, you know, if you can get an introductory program, if you're not sure, if you spent the last 6 years going and spending an hour on the treadmill and you want to have a look at the weights room, ask for an introductory program. Many gyms do this. Or book an intro PT session, a one-off session to help you know what you're doing. That's okay too. You can even get like online coaching if you want to train from home. The list of options are endless, so never be afraid to ask for help. Obviously there's plenty of free content out there all around the internet, so if you feel competent enough to be able to decipher that content, some of it can be very technical, some of it can be very easy to understand. If you feel you're okay with doing that, and you can do that, that also still counts as getting help. If you're helping someone, or if you're finding free content, if say for instance you can't afford a coach, or in the gym you're having, they don't offer free introductory programs. One really big thing I wanted to say, I'm not sure if I said it, was don't punish yourself for what happened over Christmas. I know I may have kind of touched on that kind of idea during this, and I really want people to know that like you don't have to make up for what you did over that time. That time is gone now. You can change it. So you don't need to starve yourself, and you don't need to like do extra training sessions or train extra hard because you took a week off. Take your time, ease in. It's unnecessary. You never need to punish yourself for previous days or previous weeks or whatever you've been doing. That is now in the past. You cannot change it. There's no point beating yourself up over it. And like these are two do's that people are going to not be happy about, but they are a fact. And do be patient, and do expect it to take longer than you think it is, because especially now, it's this time of the year, all the charlatans are out telling you they can make you drop this amount of weight in yesterday, and they're ready to sell you supplements that'll fix your issues. They'll tell you the diet that's going to make your life amazing, all these different things, and they're here to sell you, or the workout plan that'll make you skinny and whatever. All these different things, they are going to be out in force now. They're going to be selling you these crazy shiny objects, like a diet to fit your body type, or like, I don't know, what food to eat based on the moon in your star sign. I don't know, some shit like that. You will find out these crazy things that sound really weird and cool and scientific, but they're actually a load of bullshit. So really, the ones who are out there selling you the boring stuff, where they say go for a walk, do a bit of training, drink your water, they're the people you kind of want to listen to, or you definitely want to listen to, because they're the ones who are selling a sustainable thing that you will be able to potentially keep up for more than the 6 weeks that this thing is selling you. And they will be able to teach you how to make better choices when it comes to nutrition and training. And yeah, look, it's going to be slow. That's why I say do expect to take longer than you want, because it'll be slow and it'll be frustrating, and there'll be times when you feel like quitting because you thought you were supposed to be 10 pounds down now and you're only 2, and your friend down the road is telling you how they lost all this on this diet, and you're forgetting they've already put it all back on. And everyone's going to have an opinion as well. So if you decide you're going on this kind of journey, your family is going to tell you should do it this way, and your friends are going to say do it this way, and someone else is going to tell you why would you do that, you don't need to, you're perfect the way you are, and someone else is going to tell you you're great for doing it, and you're going to have all these conflicting opinions. And basically, this is why having a coach as well can be very helpful, because the coaches there can tell you you can bounce off what you're hearing from people off them, and they can help you feel a little bit better and less overwhelmed by all this different information. And really, I just like, if you have hired someone, please do listen to what they're saying. Yes, your friend is going to tell you this. Yes, your auntie's going to tell you that. Yes, this and the other. But if you've invested your money, of course, ask them questions as to why they think this is the way to do it, why you think this. But don't go behind their back. Don't be like asking people, asking other people, is this the right way to do it? Like, you should trust your coach. If you're not certain as to why they told you to eat a certain way or train a certain way, ask them. Ask them why it is, instead of asking other people or changing or just deciding to do something different because you saw it on social media or some family member said that to you. It's just a bit of advice that can make like your working relationship with your coach a lot easier, and also can save you a lot of money, because what's the point of you paying for someone for insight and like help on what to do with things if you're going to ignore it all anyway? So just another little thing that I thought was worth bringing up during this. It is a do remember to be patient. Do remember it's going to be longer than you want it to be, and you probably will get frustrated. And do listen to a coach if you have paid them, because they spent a lot of time and effort like educating themselves so they can help you. Likelihood is 9 out of 10 coaches are doing their best to help you. And if you have any questions, you can just ask them. Now obviously, if they just tell you something like "'cause I said so," not the best response. However, they should be open to talk to and be able to explain to you at a very basic level what the reason you're doing all these things. So I think I'm going to leave it there, because I think that is a good amount of do's and don'ts, and I don't want to give you 6 million do's and don'ts that you don't even remember the first one. I think it's enough balance of both, what we should do, what we shouldn't do. Hopefully this gives you a bit of insight on where you want to go now when you go in and start training in January. Hopefully it stops you from repeating a cycle of starting, going gung-ho and quitting a few months later because you've either gotten bored or you've gone too hard and you've burned yourself out. So a few little things you can have in your arsenal. You can listen to this back at any time as well later. And if you are looking for a coach and you're looking for some help, I am taking on online clients in January. I do also take people on in person, so do feel free to drop me a message here, drop me a DM. You'll find me on Instagram, it's at Chrissy H Fitness. You'll find me on TikTok as well, at Chrissy H Fitness, and you will also find me on my website, which is www.chrissyhawkins.com. There is a contact form on that website which you can fill out if you are interested in inquiring about coaching with me. We can set up a call or set up a meeting. And yeah, I hope your January gym journey or fitness journey goes better this year, and we still see you here the whole way through and you become part of that gym life. I don't know how to say this, but hopefully these few tips will help you stop from just going on and off and going, and hopefully you'll find some form of exercise as well that you enjoy, that you want to keep up long term, because any bit of movement is always great. So I hope you did enjoy this episode, and as ever, if you can, I really do appreciate if you drop me a review, leave me a review, or follow the podcast and like and share it as well. Share it on Instagram, share it on social media. I really do appreciate the feedback I get from you guys, and I love hearing about how you guys are enjoying this episode. So yeah, with that I'm going to sign out, and thanks for listening. Thank you again for listening to the Why Not podcast. It really means a lot that you are listening in, and I would love if you could please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or subscribe on Spotify. And always, I'd love to hear feedback personally, so if you do want to leave me a message and let me know how you found the podcast, please do.